Good morning, everyone. Good evening and good afternoon to viewers from all walks of life. This is Denzamos, and you're welcome to the channel of truth, enlightenment, freedom, and the channel of breaking empaths free. If you are new on this channel, I talk about narcissism and narcissistic abuse. I talk about spirituality, and I talk about personal and self-growth. And if any of that resonates with you, I invite you guys to join us. Give us a like, share the video with friends, and you may subscribe if you haven't already. And for those that have always been with us, you are welcome back. And I thank you for your love and support. Now, a lot of chosen ones, eventually you guys are going to agree. You're going to concur with me in this video because I'm going to talk about the reason why it is usually hard for you to find love. Now, chosen ones, they are highly evolved souls. So chosen ones, those are individuals who have awakened at some point to their true divine nature. So those are the individuals who have discovered who they really are. On a very deep and spiritual soul level, they have found out and discovered who they are. And most of the times when the chosen one wakes up, at some point in time, they are going to also start walking in purpose. You know what I mean? So the life that they have always known before prior awakening, it has always been a different life. You know what I mean? They have been living mostly on a 3D dimension, on the matrix level. So they have been doing all this kind of low frequency stuff and everything. You know what I mean? Because like I've told you guys, chosen ones also, they haven't had their life easy. So a lot of them, they have been having a lot of difficult situations regarding their lives. So in that dimension, of course, dating was easy. You know, you could go out there, you would meet a partner, a nice man or a nice woman or whatever it is. You go into dates, and things was okay. Of course, even sometime, of course, they may also have been involved in difficult or even toxic relationships, but normally the dating has always been smooth in one way or the other. You know what I mean? So the chosen ones, when they awaken, they start to discover the deep meaning of life, the deep hidden meaning of life, that life that they've never known before. So they start to transform and they start to ascend to a certain degree towards the fifth dimension. You guys have already had my videos about it. And when they reach that level, most of the times during the ascension process, so a lot of chosen ones, they tend to stay alone. You know what I mean? During the ascension process, chosen ones don't tend to date. When they're working on themselves, maybe they have discovered purpose, or they want to do one or two things to, to better their lives, to become the best version of themselves. A lot of them tend to spend very long periods of time alone. You can even find sometimes chosen ones who are spending years. You know what I mean? It depends on which purpose they are following or which path they are following. A lot of them actually sometimes spend a very good significant amount of time by themselves, because at that moment they're working on themselves, and they are putting all their attention and the efforts they can to make sure that they better their lives. On top of that, even sometimes better the lives of those individuals around them, by helping them, by giving them wisdom, knowledge, by healing them, and all these kind of things. Because you guys already know chosen ones are also light workers as well. So at a certain point, when these guys evolve, they start to feel that need of dating. You know what I mean? They feel the need to date. Of course, like anybody else, like any other normal human beings, they also feel a need to date. And most of the times, they also long to find, a divine partner, a divine counterpart, to fall into love, of course, and start a relationship. You know what I mean? Something meaningful in their lives. But at the end of the day, most of the times, it doesn't always come out that way that they expect, because usually, I don't know, for some reason, it's like the chosen ones, they kind of have that thing whereby they always have people gravitating towards them. And most of the times, those people who gravitate towards them, they are the people who are in line of their purpose. You know what I mean? So those are the guys, I'm talking about the people who are gravitating towards the chosen ones. Those are the guys who need their services. So they can be sometimes the people they're helping. Also, it can be sometimes the people they meet along their journey. But most of the times, you are going to realize and recognize that a lot of people who meet the chosen ones, most of the times, especially I'm talking about those moments that they have usually evolved, it's a lot of people who actually need help, they need guidance, they need wisdom, and they need these kind of things. You know what I mean? And sometimes it also comes to that point that a chosen one, normally, they also tend to be very, very selective, because a chosen one, even if they get into a date, even if they start dating somebody and they get into a date, they're always going to put their purpose at the forefront. You know what I mean? So you're not going to date a chosen one, and then you think because You have gotten into a relationship with them. It's like you are going to kind of drag them away from their purpose, because they have got that feeling. They have got these guys. They're like, they have got something behind them that is driving them. They have got a very, very strong driving force towards their purpose. So they're very, very much dived into their purpose, whereby sometimes they get into relationships and they somehow feel, when they start dividing their time, with relationships and again with their purpose, it may somehow drag them or even sometimes slow them down. So they also tend to be a little bit reluctant when it comes to dating. So they will usually like to date, they will yearn to date, they will long to date, but they also have these other things that follow along with them, especially when you're talking about life path and life purpose, you know what I mean? So they are people who are committed, very, very strongly committed to what it is they came here to do. Because remember, guys, it is not everybody around you, they know what they want to do, you know what I mean? A lot of people in the 3D, they just live on a day-to-day basis, you know what I mean, in some kind of a pattern, in some kind of a cycle. But at the end of the day, the chosen ones, they have already gotten out of that cycle. So they have discovered some more important things that they really need to do on this planet, as long as they're still on the planet. So they also tend to focus and put a lot of attention on these kind of things that they want to pursue in along their journey. You know what I mean? And for them, that comes number one. So sometimes you may date a chosen one, and you notice that they are not really going to make you a high priority. You know what I mean? They will usually love you. They will have a lot of respect for you and everything. But still, it will not always be that point whereby they are going to fully, like 100%, focus on the relationship. Because on the other hand, they also have something very, very serious going on in their lives. They have got a purpose they are following. They have got this little journey they are following. So it's like they cannot sacrifice that journey for anything else. You know what I mean? And on the other hand, also, a lot of people who also get drawn to chosen ones. Usually, a lot of people who get drawn to chosen ones, they also understand that they are actually after their energy. You know what I mean? So they are usually attracted to their energy. You know what I mean? So because, like I've told you guys, the chosen ones, they're people who have got this sweet, but at the same time very intimidating energy. So people usually want to come in. Usually, they want to sometimes go into relationships with you. But at the end of the day, sometimes your energy, because at that frequency, if you're talking about things on the fifth dimension, at that frequency, your energy is at a high, you know what I mean? And sometimes it also shifts a lot of things around you. And most of the time, it can even sometimes include the people that you may be dating at that moment. So sometimes your energy is also going to come out as intimidating, you know what I mean? Because I've told you guys, chosen ones, those individuals, they are all souls number one. And they are very, very highly intelligent. They are very, very smart, you know what I mean? So they know a lot of things about life. They know all the little details, all the simple details. They know most of those things that a lot of people don't know. So when they get into relationships with people, normally what they are doing is like they are scanning those individuals, like from the top to the bottom. You may speak with them physically, and even sometimes, guys, don't get it twisted. Most of the time, the chosen ones, they can be even sometimes physically attracted to an individual. They will usually want to date that kind of individual. But when they usually get into the relationships, they will also notice that sometimes that individual is not at their wavelength. You know what I mean? Because there is always there's always life after intimacy. There's always life after this kind of intimacy, intimate actions and relationships. We're talking about sex and all these kind of things. So they may usually sometime on the physical level be attracted to you. They may like your swagger. They may like your style. They may even sometimes like the way you carry yourself. But normally they also know that there is more to life than after sex and all these kind of things. So sometimes they will usually notice on a very spiritual and emotional level, they will usually figure out that sometimes the people they are dating, they're not on their wavelength. You know what I mean? And sometimes it is very, very difficult, because like when you're talking about the difference between the 3D and the 5D, you know that is a very, very big gap. It's a very, 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 it's a very big difference, a difference that you cannot even imagine, whereby one of the person is still on the 3D, one of the person is on the 5D. So those individuals, that first of all, they're speaking different languages, they are doing different things, they are following different journeys and different paths, and now they're into somebody who is on the 3D level. You know what I mean? After sex, of course, you're going to notice that there is nothing more going on. You know what I mean? There's nothing more after that. There is no more of a spiritual connection. There's no more of a soul connection, because those individuals, remember, guys, those individuals, they already have awakened to their true, authentic, divine nature. So they also understand that when they get involved in relationships, if the other individual, if the other party is not awakened, or if sometimes fully awakened, it is going to always be a little bit difficult for them to get into a really, really meaningful relationship, because there is always going to be these little differences that that always prevent them from establishing that connection. I mean, to work out for a longer period of time. So the chosen ones, so what they do when it comes to relationships, they're a little bit picky. You know what I mean? So chosen ones, those are the guys, they are a little bit picky with the relationships. You come to them, they will be monitoring you, they'll be watching you, they'll be reading your entire DNA, they will be scanning. You know, it's like some kind of an X-ray, So remember, guys, these guys they're on the 5D, and at some point, a lot of people on the 3D. As much as they may usually be attracted physically on the physical level to each other, there will always be something that is more of a spiritual thing, whereby the chosen ones, they're looking for the spiritual connection. Yes, they need the physical connection as well, the physical attraction as well, but there's also something what they call a spiritual attraction, whereby sometimes you guys are vibrating on that same frequency. You know, you're on that same wavelength, whereby you're talking things. You don't have to like explain a lot of things to the other party. You don't have to explain a lot of things because they should already be knowing what it is you're saying. Even sometimes they don't have to ask you, so you have to go on and repeat what you've said, because at some point it's like they don't get you. You know what I mean? They don't get you. They don't understand what you're saying. Sometimes they don't even see where you're going. So sometimes that's why you see a lot of relationships whereby a chosen one may get involved with a person who is not yet awakened or yet fully awakened. So you will see sometimes they are going to be struggling a lot. They will usually struggle because that other person feels like they're being dragged to a height that they're not ready for. You know what I mean? Because the person who's not awakened, I've already told you guys, it's a completely different process when you're waking up. So when you awaken, you move towards the higher dimension. You move towards the 5th dimension. But at the same time, there's this other party who is still on the lower frequency. So no matter how much you try to explain to them some stuff, you try to make them, to show them the move, to show them the way, this and that, they may usually not get you. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's what also causes the jealousy, the hate, and the things like that. And on a very subconscious level, they will start to hate you. They will start to be jealous about you because you're at a level that they aren't at the moment. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's not even personal, but it's just because it's a natural way of presenting themselves, whereby they really feel they have got to know that individual in a very much more spiritual level, much as they have been attracted to those people. To those people on the physical dimension, they like their bodies or their physique or this and that, the way they carry themselves. But there's a very much more spiritual connection the chosen ones are looking for. So sometimes it's not a lot of chosen ones out there that you will go out there and just meet them everywhere. So these are the guys you might meet once in a lifetime. It's not always that you walk out there or on your on a daily routine and you meet a chosen one walking along the street. It may sometimes happen like that, but again, it is very, very difficult to meet those kind of individuals because, again, I've told you guys, those individuals, they are extremely committed to their purpose. So most of the times you'll find them in their backyard, you find them in their gardens working on themselves, you find them somewhere in a yoga class or in a spiritual class or the things like that. So they are not the guys you're going to always meet on your journey. You may sometime have a chance, you may meet them once in your lifetime, maybe twice in a year or things like that, but you will usually have a very difficult time finding those guys because those guys, they are very, very rare. They're very much committed and dived in deep into their purpose and their callings. You know what I mean? Because again, chosen ones, we already know those guys have got a higher calling in life, and they have already stepped into that calling and trying to do what it is that they came here to do. So sometimes they don't always like put relationships at the forefront. So they don't like say yes, they have to. They want to date. They really want to date. They want to have somebody with them, but they don't really put it like on the forefront because for them, purpose comes first. When it comes to a chosen one, purpose comes first. But at the same time, you find a lot of people, they don't understand what is purpose. They don't have a calling. Sometimes they don't have even a mission going on with themselves. They haven't yet put in the work because I've told you guys, chosen ones. So those are the guys, they have really worked on themselves. You know what I mean? And it takes a lot of work. They have sacrificed a lot of, a couple of years of their life, and they have really worked on themselves. And when I'm talking about working on themselves, those chosen ones, they have really worked on themselves and they have elevated themselves to a higher frequency, and now they're on that wavelength, which sometimes is a few people up there. You know what I mean? There's so many. There's just a few number of them up there. So when a chosen one meets another chosen one, it may sometimes work out. It will usually work out because sometimes you will find them vibrating at that same wavelength. You know what I mean? They're on the same path, maybe not the same path, but they're on a similar path. Something like they are doing something like similar to what the other person is doing. So they may be sometimes resonating together in the same way, talking about the same things, talking about a similar journey, things like that. You know what I mean? So for the chosen one, it is very difficult. I know a lot of times, a lot of chosen ones, even sometimes you see them online. It is always very difficult for them to get into relationships. So you will usually see them, they're alone by themselves, working on themselves, keep on going, because those guys, they're like robots. They just keep on going and going and going. You know what I mean? The very moment they discover their purpose, those individuals, they're unstoppable. So it is not possible to stop a chosen one. It does not matter who you are. Let me tell you something, guys. It does not matter who you are. It does not matter what you look like. You cannot stop those individuals from their purpose, because when they have discovered their purpose, they are going to become like robots. They are going to keep on going. You know what I mean? Because they have that big calling in their lives, and they really feel that they have got to keep on going a certain direction, because they have discovered that they're here for a very much bigger purpose and a bigger calling in their lives. And a lot of people have not done the work. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to say that those individuals, they are perfect. Yes, they also have their own flaws, little here and there, of course, like anybody else. They've got their own little flaws. Nobody is perfect. They are also still a work in progress. But at the same time, you have got the other individual who hasn't even started the work. You know what I mean? They haven't put in the work. They haven't yet started doing anything. And sometimes it looks like you are dragging each other to the side. And a lot of chosen ones, when they have awakened, they have come to that sense of self. They have awakened. It is almost impossible for somebody to drag them towards that dimension, because they have already left that frequency. You know what I mean? They've already left the 3D, so they have already started ascending and moving towards the 5D. So it is very difficult for them to drag back to the 3D, because a lot of times chosen ones have found themselves in a situation that they meet somebody and then they feel like they're continuously teaching these individuals. You know what I mean? On a daily basis, they are teaching and teaching and teaching and teaching them. You know what I mean? So sometimes they also feel that when they meet people who are not awakened, or people who are not fully awakened, or people who have not spiritually evolved, they have got to be, you find yourself in a situation whereby you just continuously teaching somebody. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of people, the things you're teaching them or the things you're showing them, they may not make a lot of sense. You're telling them something about spiritual growth, about this, about evolution. They're not understanding what you're saying, because they're not on that wavelength. You know what I mean? So dating with the chosen one, it was always, it's not a walk in the park. So it's not like you'll go out there and you just meet somebody and you start dating them. And it may happen on a physical level, but after that, there is more of a spiritual connection you're looking for. You're looking for somebody who has evolved, you know what I mean? At least even on the way to evolution, or at least a certain degree of evolution. And those people may sometimes could have awakened. Normally, chosen one prefers to date a person that has also awakened, and a person that has a calling, or has a purpose, or has this little journey they are following. It may not necessarily be you're already up there, you're already fully into your path. But as long as the chosen one spots that you are actually walking towards your direction, towards your path, they may sometimes usually get into a relationship with you, because at some point in time they know that you're also evolving and you're working on yourself and you're going somewhere. You know what I mean? They can see where you're going. So the moment the chosen one notices, and the moment the chosen one figures out and notices that you are actually going somewhere, you are moving to a certain direction, you're putting in the work, you know what I mean? You're working on yourself, like you're evolving on a daily basis. That is when they're going to pick up interest in you. But if a person is on the 3D and they have nothing to do there, they have not put in the work, they have not worked on themselves, they're at a certain level that the chosen ones, they can't reason it. Normally, it is never going to work out. As much as the people on the 3D, they may usually want to get into a relationship with the chosen ones, they may want to start dating with them or the things like that, because at that frequency, it's like a magnet. You're like a people's magnet, you know what I mean? So people just keep on gravitating towards you. For some reason, they usually always gravitate towards you. But I can guarantee you that most of the people who usually gravitate towards you, they're the people who need your help. They need your healing. They need your advice. They need wisdom. They need something, one or two things from you. They don't really know why they keep on gravitating towards you, but for some reason, and normally when they gravitate towards you, they're also going to kind of get this kind of attraction. And it's very difficult to define or to describe this kind of attraction that the people get when they meet a chosen one. So it is something which is very, very magnetic and very, very sweet at the same time. So it's like they just keep on getting sucked into the chosen one. But at the same time, the chosen one, they're like scanning you, trying to understand what you're all about, trying to see your movements, to scan your entire DNA, to see if you mean them well. And another reason, again, which I had even forgotten, is sometimes the chosen one, they also know that they have a lot of these stalkers, you know what I mean? So they have a lot of stalkers, people who are like stalking them. You guys have heard me talking about the gang stalking and the things like that. So sometimes when somebody comes into the chosen one's life, the chosen one also wants to know if those individuals mean them well, if they come in for the right intentions or the right things or things like that. So that's why they have a lot of in the beginning. It isn't going to be easy to get the trust, you know, from a chosen one. So you have to earn that trust. You know what I mean? When you get into a chosen one and you want to get into their lives, you have got to work your way for them to be able to trust you, because it's going to take them a lot to be able to trust somebody. The moment you come into contact with them, they've started scanning you. They're trying to understand what you're all about. Are you for the right reasons? What is your intentions and the things like that? And they are looking for all these little dots. You know what I mean? Because those guys, again, have said that they are very, very picky when they're picking partners and relationships. And the moment they figure out that there is, there is a loophole somewhere that is not adding up or is not fitting up, that's when they're going to draw back a little bit, because they will realize that there is something they have seen in that individual, and they are not really sure that they need to really carry on with the relationship. So it is going to take them a lot to date. That's why we see a lot of them, they are alone, they are working, just out there busy with their lives, working on themselves and elevating themselves to the next level. You know what I mean? So chosen ones out there, just be rest assured in this video that it is not always going to be the same when you're vibrating on the fifth dimension. It is not always going to be the same when it comes to dating. You know, you will usually meet people that you really like on a very physical level. You like their bodies, you like their, maybe it's a woman out there, you like their muscles, you like their swag and things like that. But at the same time, you will also know that as much as you might like them and you might appreciate them on a physical level, when we're talking about the 3D level, it is not going to be easy for you to get a very nice spiritual connection with them, for them to be able to, for you guys to be able to fall in love and make a meaningful connection or partnership. So that's why you see the chosen ones, what they do when it comes to dating and relationships. So what the chosen ones do, they just leave everything to the universe. You know what I mean? Because those guys, they've already awakened to their true authentic self. So what they do, they just leave everything to the universe and they let the universe do its work. You know what I mean? So the universe will always make them somewhere, somehow, move along and meet their divine counterparts. You know what I mean? So it will come to that time, the person may come along. Of course, if they're not meant for you, you will straight away see it, because at that dimension, it's like you can look through everything. You can look through people, you will straight away know their intentions, you will know what they're up to and what they're all about. You will scan their DNA and their whole entire beings, you know what I mean, before you know that you can get into a relationship with them. Until then, guys, I've been able to make this video for the chosen ones. For the most of you guys who are asking yourselves the question as to why it is usually hard for you to date, why can't you find love and the things like that. There's a lot of little dots that you have to fill up before you get into a fully meaningful relationship. And usually it is always going to be somebody who is either on their journey of evolution, or they're always already evolved, or they're starting to evolve. So it is usually going to be somebody who can usually speak your language and they're also at your wavelength. That is the only way you're going to be able to make a really meaningful relationship with them. And usually it is the universe that does the work behind the scenes, that brings the two people together for you to be able to find, or to sometimes to start, initiate a relationship with a divine counterpart. And those are the relationships you cannot separate, the relationship you cannot break, because those relationships, they have been orchestrated by the divine. Now, that being said, guys, let me know what you think about this video. If you chose the one I'm speaking to you, let us know in the comment section below. Let us know what has been your experience. And again, you guys can always book a session with me. Remember, you can always donate and support to this channel. All the links, Cashapp and PayPal, you need, they are in the description section below. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like and share this video. Until then, much love and blessings. There's more signing out, and catch you in my next one. Peace.